Good morning. I want to jump right into it this morning, and I want to inform you today on the topic of debt. What is debt? What gets millions of Americans into debt? And a substantial plan to get yourself out of debt. You may ask yourself, what is debt? Debt is an amount of money borrowed by one party from another. Debt is used by many corporations to make small and large purchases that they cannot afford under normal circumstances. Debt is so popular amongst our population, and today most of us have the slightest idea of what we have in common when it comes to debt with our family, neighbors, friends, and loved ones. But we are not alone. Even our nation holds on to a debt. And today, we hold the largest internal and external debt in the world. And according to the Peter G. Peterson Foundation, that debt is an alarming rate of $26 trillion. The average American holds on to some sort of debt. According to WolfStreet.com, AT&T is the number one indebted company in America today. After the purchase of DirecTV in 2005 and acquisition of Time Warner in 2018, the telecommunications giant was left with an outrageous debt of $191 billion in short-term and in long-term debt. I want to bring to your attention 3 reasons why Americans get into debt. That number 1 reason, believe it or not, is children. It takes an average of $250,000 to raise a child in America today. This is not uncommon. A middle-income family can expect to spend around $250,000 on food, housing, clothing, and education until that child turns 18 years of age. Not to mention, if your child decides to go to college. The number 2 reason that we're in debt today I want to bring up to you is home improvement. Americans spend billions of dollars on their home every year. One of the largest causes of debt in America remain in home improvements. Americans spend about $359 billion making home improvements between the years of 2009 and 2011. That 3rd reason why we're in debt, healthcare. Healthcare spending is on the rise. Part of the challenge is medical costs are often unclear up front, even for those who are insured. Often consumers only learn of these costs of urgent or emergency care after they receive a bill of explanation, leaving Americans to pay thousands of dollars in medical bills that they can't afford. And this is an amount that's on top of what we're already in debt with. Like, for instance, car payments, credit cards, bills, and other things. Now I want to bring to your attention a way and a strategy that we could plan to get out of debt. I want to introduce 3 basic principles to getting out of debt. And according to an individual that I have read upon in the past few years and got a lot of knowledge from in the category of getting out of debt, is Dave Ramsey. According to Dave Ramsey, a personal money management expert, a national radio personality, and an owner of his own multi-billion-dollar company that defines their success based on the numbers of the lives changed through his message. Step number 1 is to save $1,000 emergency fund. This emergency fund allows us to have that amount of money in a savings in our bank account in case of an emergency, so we're not having to put this emergency on a credit card, or even for some instances taking out a personal loan. Life brings emergencies. The average co-payment to an emergency room could be up to $500. Or if your fridge goes out in your home, we need a minimum of $1,000 to cover these emergency expenses. Step number 2 is to pay off your debt utilizing a snowball effect. The snowball formula allows us to put our debt in order from smallest to largest, where we begin to tackle our debt in that order, and from the money that we save from clearing out these individual amounts, we put toward the next largest debt. Though some say, why not tackle the debt with the highest interest rate? In this snowball effect, it allows us to gain momentum towards paying off the highest debt. The next step and final step, step number 3, is to save 3 to 6 months of expenses in savings. This allows us to be okay in the event of a layoff, a medical emergency, car breaking down. This allows us to live okay without an income for 3 to 6 months. And it gives us that cushion of covering our expenses while we are in an unforeseen situation. Again, life brings us financial situations that most of us are not prepared for. In conclusion, today I touched up on just the surface of what it is to get out of debt, to plan to get out of debt, and to strategize. I hope that this little bit of information that I informed you on today could tweak your way of thinking the next time you're at the checkout counter and decide to pull that credit card out for your purchase. And just to understand that it could affect your journey to financial freedom. Thank you.